Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Tanvi Taneja, coming up in the next 30 minutes. Delhi car blast probe expands across Haryana, Delhi and J&K. Enforcement directed to probe funding into Al-Falah University's funding. DNA confirms attacker as Faridabad's professor Omar Nabi. Botswana hands over 8 cheetahs to India under Project Cheetah. President Murmu calls the diaspora a living bridge of friendship between India and Botswana. And Democrats release emails raising new questions about a relationship between Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein. The US president says disclosure an attempt to divert attention from the shutdown. Al-Falah University in Faridabad is already under the scanner in connection with the ongoing Delhi car blast investigation. In the latest update, a suspicious Birsa car was located at the Al-Falah University, which is now being investigated by the Jammu and Kashmir Police. The National Assessment and Accreditation Council, NAC, on Thursday issued a show-cause notice to the university for allegedly displaying false accreditation information on its website. The notice read, "It is brought to the notice of NAC that the Al-Falah University, neither accredited or volunteered for Cycle 1 for ANA, has publicly displayed on their website that Al-Falah University is an endeavor of Al-Falah Charitable Trust, which has been running 3 colleges on the campus. This information is absolutely wrong and misleading the public, especially the parents, students and stakeholders." Delhi police has again intensified its search operation and cordoned off the entire road where the blast took place. A search operation is being conducted in and around the streets. The NIA team is also present at the scene and searched the vehicles. The NIA team searched the vehicles parked at the time of the blast, inquiring the names of their owners and also finding the real addresses. Lieutenant General Dheeraj Seth, Param Vishisht Seva Medal and General Officer Commanding-in-Chief of Southern Command, reviewed the operational preparedness of Konark Corps during exercise Akhand Prahar in the desert sector. This forms part of the Tri-Services exercise Trishul. The drill validated the full-spectrum combat readiness through integrated use of all arms and services, including mechanized and infantry maneuvers, land operations by Rudra Brigade, special heliborne operations and coordinated attack helicopter missions by Army Aviation. Seamless synergy with Indian Air Force featured fighter ground attack missions supporting land forces. Indigenous drones, counter-drone systems and electronic warfare grids enhanced battlefield transparency and precision, highlighting India's self-reliance. General Seth commended the professionalism and joint excellence of all units, affirming the Corps' evolution into a modern, agile force for multi-domain operations. In a major anti-Maoist operation success, security forces neutralized 6 Maoists in an encounter inside the National Park region of Bijapur district in the central Indian state of Chhattisgarh. Officials confirmed that those killed include Kanna alias Buchanna, a Maoist carrying a reward of 8 lakh rupees and known to have played a key role in spreading violence and threats in the area. The operation, jointly conducted by the Chhattisgarh Police, District Reserve Guard and the Special Task Force, is being viewed as a significant move towards breaking the remaining operational chain of Maoist cadres in South Bastar. In a landmark move for global wildlife conservation, Botswana today handed over 8 cheetahs to India, symbolizing the deep friendship between the two countries. President Draupadi Murmu and Botswana's President Duma Boko witnessed the ceremony at Mokolodi Nature Reserve near Gaborone. The cheetahs are now in quarantine ahead of their transfer to India under Project Cheetah, aimed at restoring the species after its 1952 extinction. With 26 cheetahs already thriving at Kuno, Botswana's donation marks a major boost to India's wildlife revival efforts. Earlier today, President Draupadi Murmu addressed the Indian diaspora in Botswana on Thursday. She began her address by expressing grief over the Delhi car blast that took place on Monday.
दिल्ली में हुई खुद दुखद विस्फोट शायद आप लोग सुने होंगे, देखे होंगे टीवी पे। मैं मरे गए लोगों के परिवार और मित्रों के प्रति अपनी हार्दिक संवेदना व्यक्त करना चाहूंगी। मैं चाहूंगी कि शीघ्र स्वस्थ होने की प्रार्थना करती हूँ।
500 expatriates in Botswana's Gaborone, President Murmu praised the Indian diaspora, highlighting their support for schools, health camps and the needy there.
बोत्सवाना में भारतीय समुदाय सामाजिक सेवा या धर्मार्थ कार्यक्रमों का आयोजन करने के लिए एकत्रित होते रहते हैं। चाहे विद्यालयों को सहायता देना हो, स्वास्थ्य शिविर आयोजित करना हो या जरूरतमंदों की मदद करना, आपकी संवेदना वसुधैव कुटुंबकम की भावना को साकार करती है।
Union Minister for Railways, Communications and Electronics and IT, Ashwini Vaishnav, paid floral tributes to Birsa Munda at Rail Bhavan in New Delhi on the occasion of Janjatiya God of Divas. The day was celebrated with patriotic fervour across Indian Railways, with digital displays, public announcements and cultural events highlighting Birsa Munda's legacy. Various zonal railways organised quiz, essay and painting competitions, while folk teams performed traditional songs. NITI Aayog Vice Chairman Suman Berry, while addressing the Energy Security Conference in New Delhi on Thursday, said that India should not become the victim of high-cost energy on its journey towards Viksit Bharat. He also called for looking into the industrial structure of the hydrocarbon sector and enhancing the private sector role in overall energy security.
We need to stress to the rest of the world the audaciousness and boldness of the challenge that India under the leadership of Prime Minister Modi has taken on, because these are at the end of the day new untested technologies at scale in many ways. I'm talking about solar, wind, etc. Everybody else has developed without care for the environment. We are trying to be prudent custodians of the environment. But as was said, it is our national self-interest that has to dedicate our, has to determine our energy policies.
Bangladesh's International Crimes Tribunal on Thursday announced that it would deliver the verdict against ousted Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina and two of her former top aides on Monday, November the 17th. The date was set by a three-member judicial panel of Tribunal 1. They said the verdict pertains to alleged crimes committed during the July mass uprising last year, which led to widespread violence and political unrest prior to the fall of the Awami League government in August. Alongside Sheikh Hasina, former Home Minister Asaduzzaman Khan Kamal and former Inspector General of Police Chaudhry Abdullah Al-Mamoon were also charged. Al-Mamoon later became an observer in the case. The tribunal had concluded trial proceedings on October 23rd. Bangladesh's interim government chief advisor, Professor Muhammad Yunus, has announced that the country's next national parliamentary election and a nationwide referendum on July National Charter Constitutional Reform Implementation Order 2025 will be held on the same day in the first half of February next year. In a televised address to the nation on Thursday, Professor Yunus said that the move was aimed at making the electoral process more participatory, festive and cost-effective. He emphasized that holding the referendum alongside the parliamentary election would not hinder the reform process, but rather help accelerate the country's transition towards a new constitutional framework. The referendum will pose a single question divided into four parts, seeking voters' approval to implement the key reform proposals outlined in the July Charter. House Democrats on Wednesday released emails they said raised new questions about President Donald Trump's ties with Jeffrey Epstein and how much he knew about his abuse of underage girls. Also, the swearing-in of a new Democrat kicked off a new fight in Congress over further disclosures. The Democrats released messages between Epstein and author Michael Wolff and G. Maxwell, a British socialite who is serving a 20-year prison sentence on charges related to her role in facilitating Epstein's sex trafficking. In one 2019 email to Wolff, the sex offender wrote that Trump knew about the girls, though it was not clear what that phrase meant. Meanwhile, White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt accused the Democrats of selectively releasing emails to the liberal media to create a fake narrative to smear President Trump.
These emails prove absolutely nothing other than the fact that President Trump did nothing wrong. And what President Trump has always said is that he was from Palm Beach and so was Jeffrey Epstein. Jeffrey Epstein was a member at Mar-a-Lago until President Trump kicked him out because Jeffrey Epstein was a pedophile and he was a creep.
The Kremlin said on Thursday that Ukraine would have to negotiate with Russia sooner or later and predicted that Kiev's negotiating position would get worse by the day. Moscow's forces are trying to take control of the city of Pokrovsk in eastern Ukraine, has accused Ukrainian officials of refusing to engage in peace talks. Kiev says Moscow's terms to end the conflict are unacceptable. Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov said that Russia remained open to a political and diplomatic settlement and wanted peace.
Russia truly wants peace. Russia is open to resolving the Ukrainian problem through political and diplomatic means. But in the absence of such an opportunity, when the doors to this are closed by the Kiev regime, we continue the special military operation. The main thing for us is to ensure our safety, ensure our interests, ensure safety of our future generations, and fulfill the tasks that lie ahead of us.
German Chancellor Friedrich Merz and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky have discussed an energy scandal that has engulfed the latter's government on the phone, the German government said in a statement on Thursday. Zelensky pledged complete transparency, long-term support for independent anti-corruption authorities and further swift measures to regain the trust of the Ukrainian people, the European partners and international donors, the statement said. Let's now take a look at other stories making news across the world. Beekeepers in Alsace, France have taken on a new role as inventive hornet hunters. Using thermal binoculars, colored markers and tiny transmitters, they are tracking down nests of the invasive Asian hornet, a fast-spreading predator that poses a serious threat to local bee populations. Kyrgyzstan's Arslan Bob walnut forest, known as the world's largest natural walnut forest, has been steadily thinning in recent years. Local communities say that the grove, vital to their livelihoods, is being hit hard by overgrazing, illegal logging and rising temperatures. For villagers, walnuts are a bread and butter issue, and now their future might be in danger. And vine growers in southern France are warning of a deepening crisis as heat waves and extreme weather slash harvests and threaten livelihoods. Many say they can no longer make a living from their work. Ahead of a major protest in Béziers, producers describe years of declining yields and growing anger across the region. You're with us on DD India Live, still to come on the show. Moody's expects India's economy to grow at 6.5% through 2027. US government shutdown ends. President Trump signs the bill restoring federal pay and essential services. And Britain's economy slows in the third quarter, dealing another blow to the Labour government ahead of its annual budget.
The big battle for Bihar. Who will cross the magical figure of 122? Will the NDA manage to hold, or will the Mahagathbandhan make a mark? What did Bihar vote for in 2025? Who will be the next chief minister? For these and a lot more, tune in to DD India on Friday, 7 a.m. onwards. The big battle of Bihar.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India Live. I'm Tanvi Taneja. Moody's Ratings has said on Thursday that India's economy is expected to grow by around 6.5% through 2027. The agency kept its forecast for GDP growth at 6.4% in 2026 and 6.5% in 2027. According to Moody's, India's growth momentum will be supported by robust infrastructure investment, strong consumer demand and export diversification. In its report, Global Macro 2026 growth will be steady in 2026. The ratings agency said that India's economy has remained strong despite global challenges and high US tariffs on some goods. The agency attributed India's stability to a neutral to easy monetary policy stance and low inflation, which have kept domestic conditions supportive of growth. President Donald Trump on Wednesday signed legislation ending the longest government shutdown in US history, roughly 2 hours after the House of Representatives voted. Trump's signature on the bill, which cleared the Senate earlier in the week, will bring federal workers idled by the 43-day shutdown back to their jobs starting today, although just how quickly full government services and operations will resume is unclear. It would extend funding through January 30th, leaving the federal government on a path to keep adding about $1.8 trillion a year to its $38 trillion in debt. The US House of Representatives passed the spending bill that will end the government shutdown with a 222 to 209 vote. US House Speaker Mike Johnson called the recent government shutdown utterly pointless and foolish, accusing Democrats of using Americans as leverage in a failed political tactic.
I want to say that all this was utterly pointless and foolish. This outcome was totally foreseeable. I said that this would be the outcome when all this began back in mid-September. They did it anyway. Democrats admitted that they used the people as leverage, and they got nothing for their selfish political stunt here. They didn't achieve anything with this at all.
UK economic growth slowed down to a near standstill in the third quarter of the year after a cyber attack halted production at the country's biggest automaker. The slowdown represents a blow to the British government less than 2 weeks ahead of a crucial budget that is expected to see taxes rise again. The Office for National Statistics said that the economy grew by 0.1% between July and September from the previous 3-month period. That was down on the previous quarter's 0.3% increase and below market expectations for a 0.2% rise. And on to sports news now. Diksha Dagar is the only golfer to have represented India at both the Olympics and the Deaf Olympics. Now set to compete in the 25th edition of the Deaf Olympics in Tokyo, Diksha spoke exclusively to DD India's Narayan Singh, sharing her thoughts and aspirations ahead of the prestigious event.
The send-off ceremony for the Tokyo Deaf Olympics took place in New Delhi, and right now I am joined by Diksha Dagar, the only golfer to participate in both Deaf Olympics and the able-bodied Olympics. Diksha, a very warm welcome. The kind of, we can say that achievement you have done, nobody has ever registered that thing. So how you look this thing, balancing both playing for the Deaf Olympics and able-bodied Olympics and also the international event, how challenging it is for you?
Yes, it's definitely challenging for every athlete, but it's all because of my parents that I have reached at that level. I told my parents that I want to play golf and this is my dream. So my parents said to me that you have to be at best level if you want to achieve there. So because of their help and supported my journey as far, I have been playing normal category tournaments. As soon as I got there, I happened to win 2 medals in Deaf Olympics 2 times and Asian Games. So, whether you are a deaf or a para or a normal, there is definitely one goal that you want to achieve.
So, what are the challenges you find difficult for the deaf athletes?
I consider myself as a very lucky person from the environment I have come from. as I grew up in a normal school and everything. When I played for the first time TEF Olympics, eventually I got to know that there is a TEF school and they do the sign language as well.
So many talented golf players in India, in the world too. But if you talk about the inspiration, from where you are taking inspiration, your favorite golfer there, because worldwide we have so many fantastic golfers. Who do you think is an inspiration for you?
Inspiration, my favorite golfers are Rory McIlroy and also Tiger Woods in a golf community. And apart that, I have also my most favorite player is Djokovic. He is from tennis, and I have read about him, biography and everything. He inspires me the most.
So definitely inspiration is a key role in the world of sports, and the way Diksha said, Rory McIlroy and Novak Djokovic, definitely the way she is performing in both deaf as well as the able-bodied Olympics and the international event. This time around too will eye for the gold in the Deaf Olympics in Tokyo. With camera person Naveen Narayan Singh, DD India, Delhi.
That's all for this edition of DD India Live. Do let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. Connect with us on our different social media handles at DD India Live. And for those on the go, you can download our DD India mobile app for quick news and updates from India and the world. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Tanvi Taneja from all of us here in New Delhi. Thank you for watching. Namaskar.